So we have a lot of stuff to catch up on, and more specifically, player stocks rising and falling. So I got a lot of content prepared for you guys today and tomorrow. So just keep that in mind as we go through all this stuff. So expect videos coming out in like 3 to 5 hour intervals as we catch up with the latest content. But before we dive into this video, what's going on, guys? It's Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel. Got another video today. We're talking about Mr. Dak Prescott doing his thing at training camp and looking sharp as ever. If you could, leave a like on this video. It doesn't take too long to do whatsoever, and it's greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you're new, and if you keep coming back, why not subscribe? And also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on new content when it drops. Now look, Dak Prescott obviously has been looking very good in training camp. There have been videos showing how he's been looking with CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, and a lot of these other guys, and that's key because if the Cowboys are really going to have a good year, it's going to, unfortunately, fall on the shoulders of Dak Prescott. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just we can't do the carry job crap again because that's not really what successful teams do. But he's had really good connections. And to start things off, CeeDee Lamb and Dak have had one hell of a training camp. They've been making plays all throughout the camp. And also, when you really think about it, this is something that's important because these two are going to have one hell of a bond as, you got the quarterback with his wide receiver one. The 88, once again, having his guy. And, that's big because with the injuries to James Washington and Gallup being out, we could see CeeDee Lamb have a monster start to the season, and it's going to be needed, right? The Dallas Cowboys need a playmaker to get the job done, or rather several, and I think that CeeDee Lamb is definitely going to help facilitate that offense to where you have someone that you can go to, but it's up to Kellen Moore to get that taken care of. And I mean, I know Amari keeps throwing shade at the Cowboys. Well, not really, but it's more so that Kellen Moore has to allow that to happen. If not, it's not really going to work out. So CeeDee Lamb has been looking fantastic at camp. He's been, there was a lot of these plays he's been making. And I know a lot of people want to criticize Dak Prescott because he's the quarterback of the Cowboys. But listen, he has done a fantastic job compared to where he was last year. Last year, the guy was still rehabbing and kind of slowly coming back to camp, and eventually him getting the whole shoulder injury because of him trying to get back to full health and, the whole calf crap that happened. But now you have a guy that's fully healthy, ready to go, and the Cowboys are really easing up on what he's been doing because I think that when you look at what Dak Prescott has done, he's his own worst enemy, and I think that the Cowboys learning from their mistakes last season to ease up on his workload and not going to play him for the first two preseason games and save him for maybe like a drive or two of the last, that's really important because if we as Cowboy fans want to have a good season and we want to see a good season, it's going to be important that Dak Prescott is saved and prepared for the start of the year. Now, moving on to the next big connection, I'm actually shocked to say this. Not really. It's with him and Dalton Schultz. Surprisingly, or really not, because I like Dalton Schultz, and I hope he gets his money, as much as, you could replace him. I'm not here to talk about that. Dalton Schultz has been great in camp as well. Him and Dak have been being able to push the ball downfield, which is going to be important for how the Cowboys run their offense, especially if they're going to do the 12 personnel and all that other stuff. You need your tight ends to get down the field, and Schultz definitely looking like he's poised to have his best season. And, with a better Dak Prescott that hasn't had to worry about the injuries and all that other stuff, there are plays where they're getting into the second level or the deep ball, and that is where I want to see things. Yes, you have the safety valve with your tight end, but what really drives home the point of having a really good tight end is them being able to get things done in the intermediate to deep ball game. And we've seen that a couple times last season. I think we're going to see that a lot more, again, considering the fact that Michael Gallup and, James Washington are out. Dalton Schultz, having a tight end as your second featured guy sometimes doesn't work out. But again, we see the Chiefs, we see other teams. I think the Raiders, you can throw that as an example. If you have a guy that can do that kind of thing, that's great, and it really helps your offense, so there's that. Now, the biggest thing, too, was also the Jalen Tolbert connection. So Jalen Tolbert, the rookie that we've all been talking about and praising, him and Dak have looked great as well. And I know I keep saying that, but it's the honest-to-God truth. Dak Prescott and Jalen Tolbert have had a fantastic run thus far in training camp. And another thing with Jalen Tolbert is that, as I mentioned in the previous video, or rather was alluding to, it's Jalen Tolbert getting thrusted into that starting lineup now because of the injuries. And so you look at what he's been doing, and honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if the Cowboys start to reel him back a bit, because it's kind of like a foregone conclusion at this point that the guy is going to start. There's no question about that, and I'm really excited to see what him and Dak can do. Now that you have all three of these guys, probably going to be the first sets of options as we start the season, it's important these guys get their whole crap together, because if they don't, things could get rough. Now, outside of that, Dak hasn't really worked with some of the other guys. He was working with James Washington. We all know what the hell happened. But guys like Simi, TJ Vasher, and company, they've been kind of working with the B team and C teams. And I really mean this, I want to see, Kevontae Turpin work with the number one offense. I want to see what we can do with Dak Prescott and him, because I think that's where you're going to unlock a lot of keys to this offense, is that getting a guy that has speed to him. I'm not saying that Tolbert, Lamb, or any of those other guys don't. It's just, Turpin has that ability. Like, he's just naturally speed guy, So I'm really excited to see what he can do as we move through the camp. Yes, the Cowboys continue to look for a receiver, as they should, but I think we all need to come to the constant realization that us as Cowboy fans need to be aware of, hey, look, we have to see these guys perform well. If not, you're going to have a rough start to the season. And, of course, that results on your offensive line, which we'll get into in the next video or two more specifically as we talk about Tyler Smith and Terrence Steele. So stay tuned for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this particular video. If you did, slap it with a like button. Thank you guys so much for doing that. And also, hey, you reached the end of the video. You're a real MVP for that. If you could subscribe if you're new, or keep coming back, and hit that notification bell, great. On the screen in front of you, you will see the previous video. Please make sure to click on that so you don't miss out on new Cowboys content as it comes out, in case you missed it. So yeah, just click on that, and I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.